Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is the 34th tutorial in this course, and in this tutorial we are going to begin our discussion on functions in PHP. So a function is a named unit of code, and what that means is that let's say there is something that you want to do over and over again in your script file, right? So it could be a calculation, like you want to calculate simple interest and you wanted to show that value a bunch of times in your script file, or it could just be displaying messages to users when they do something. So when you want to do something like over and over again, it makes sense to actually type in your code just once, and that's actually creating a function, and give it a name and then call that code whenever you want to use it. So there are two advantages of doing this. The first advantage is that it'll actually save you time, so you won't have to type in the same statements over and over again. And the second and the most important advantage is that if suppose tomorrow you want to make some change to the way you make that calculation or the messages that you want to display, then you'll have to make those changes at just one position, and that is where you've created your function. And you won't have to make those changes wherever you've actually called that piece of code, or wherever you've used it. So in this tutorial we're going to check out how we can create functions in PHP, and how we can call functions in PHP. So we're going to see how we can use functions, and then in the later tutorials we're going to talk about how we can pass in arguments and default arguments, and some more advanced things. So on line number 7 in this file, I have the keyword function, and this is what you use to create functions in PHP. So you type in function, give a space, and then you type in your function name. So I have created a function called hello_world, and you can use the underscore character while creating functions. And then I have a set of empty parentheses. And by the way, we've actually been using functions in this course. We've been using predefined functions. Those are functions that programmers have written and are actually a part of the PHP language, like the string functions that we've been using, or the numeric functions. So over here we are discussing how we can create functions of our own, and these functions are obviously not going to become a part of the PHP language. These functions are for our reference, and for use within our script file. So I've created a function called hello world, and I have a set of parentheses after the text hello world, and the empty parentheses indicate that this function is not going to accept arguments, right? And then I have an opening curly brace on line number 8, and I have a closing curly brace on line number 10, and between these two I have just one executable statement, and you can have as many statements as you want, but I just have the echo statement that's going to display the text hello world on screen. And then on line number 11, that is outside the function definition, I have called the function by just typing in its name with the parentheses, and I have put in a semicolon. So this is something that you need to be careful about in PHP. When you create a function and when you complete the function definition, we're completing the definition here with the closing curly brace. You don't have to type in a semicolon here, but when you make a function call, in that statement you do have to put in a semicolon, right? So what this is going to do is it's going to look for a function called hello world. It's going to find it here, it's going to get inside it, and it's going to find just one echo statement, and it's going to execute that, and we'll see the text hello world. And then on line number 12, I have created another function, and I've used the function keyword again, and I've given this function the name power. And this function actually has a placeholder or a variable within parentheses. So this is to inform PHP that this function is going to accept an argument. It's not going to be like this function which just did this thing without working with any value. This function is actually going to use this variable, it's going to display it here, and it's actually going to perform a calculation based on the value that's provided. So inside this function I have an echo statement that's going to display the text to the power, and then it's going to show the value that has been passed to it in the function call statement, and then is colon, and then it's going to use the math function p or w to calculate 2 raised to the power the number that's passed. So if you're going to pass, let's say 2, then it's going to calculate the square of 2, so it's going to display 4. If you pass in 3, then it's going to calculate the cube of 2, it's going to display 8. So on line number 16 in this file, I have called this function by typing in power, and within parentheses I passed in 8 as an argument. So this function is going to first display 8 here, so we'll see the text 2 to the power 8 is, and then the power function is going to return 2 to the power 8, which is, I guess, 256 if I'm not wrong. So I'll show you the output of this file now. So I'll go to my browser, and instead of array pointers, I'm going to look for functions1.php, and when I press the enter key, I first see the text hello world. So this is the output from the first function in the file, which was hello world, and then I see the text 2 to the power 8 is 256. Now the beauty of functions, as I said before, I'm just going to reiterate that let's say later you want to calculate 3 to the power whatever argument is passed in. Instead of using 2 as the base, you want to use something else as the base. Now if you had called this function, or if you had actually typed in this function and used the power function 15 times in your script file, then you would have had to make the change 3 inside the power function at all the places where you actually use the statement. But if you're using a function, and if you've called the function 15 times or 50 times or even 100 times, you would have to make the change just at one place. So you would have to make a change here, and you would have to make a change within the power function that you've used, right? So now if I pass in a different value, let's say I want to calculate the cube of 3, or 3 to the power 4, I'll type in 4 within parentheses, and I've obviously changed the power function here, and I'll save the file, and I'll go to my browser and refresh, and now we see 3 to the power 4 is 81, right? So this is the kind of flexibility that functions offer you. And as I said earlier, we're going to check out some advanced concepts about function. We're going to discuss functions in detail because they're really important and form a very significant part of PHP as well as other programming languages. So later on, if you want to check out other languages like C or Java, maybe functions are important in those languages too. So anyway, I hope you guys had fun watching this tutorial. I'm going to see you in the next video. Till then, take care.